What's up, everybody? This is Cowboy Tanto here doing my very first video review for One Piece chapter 674. It's entitled The Spectators. Now, just a quick overview. I'm going to first do an overview of the chapter itself, and then I'm going to go over my general thoughts about the chapter, and then theories moving forward. So, we have a new cover story here, and it's Caribou, and he seems to be wreaking havoc again on Mermaid Cove. Now, I did not like him as a character. He was just not an interesting character. I mean, he kept popping up over and over again. I mean, no one would really deal with him. When Luffy would beat him up, Peckham's would beat him up, but he just kept on coming back. What I don't understand what was with that. He wasn't an interesting character. He was annoying at best. I mean, I guess this is sort of the best way to sort of put him to rest because I mean he was a character and Oda can't really just let him loose on whatever he was doing. I guess this way he can not play an actual role in the story because he was a terrible character, but Oda can say, "Hey, I did something with him. He wasn't just a waste, like a waste." And a lot of people have said that the cover story would be on Mermaid Cove or Fishman Island, but Oda doesn't do that. It's probably going to be about just Caribou himself. So I'm interested in this cover story. It'll be a good one, especially coming after the old ones that didn't really do anything. So now we have Caesar Clown showing up to pick up the children, and as always, he's acting creepy as hell. Nami confronts him, the usual. And Nami seems to be just sort of really pissed at Caesar Clown. Like she's all like, they all wanna go home, and I just really don't see that in Nami's character. She's a selfish person. And then the kids start to go all crazy again, and they're attacking Usopp and Nami. And then Caesar's like, "You guys all want to go home, kids?" in his creepy voice. And then Nami's like, "No, we can't kill them because they're kids. They're only kids, and we need to get them back home." And so I guess they sort of chain them up together, I guess. And then Usopp tries to hit Caesar Clown with one of his Firebird stars. And then Usopp's Firebird star doesn't really do anything to him and kind of evaporates in the air. And then Caesar Clown reveals that he can control the atmosphere, everything around him, and that's kind of explains how he defeated Luffy. And that's a pretty cool ability to be able to control all gas around you. I mean, they're that's just a cool devil fruit in general, and it does explain why Luffy was choking back in an earlier. And then Nami uses her new ability to try to protect Usopp, which I won't understand for the life of me. Maybe that's because I just didn't pay attention during the Skypiea arc. I don't know. And then the kids are begging for candy from Caesar Clown because of the addiction. And then Brownbeard comes back and he looks like he's here to rescue Usopp and Nami. And it looks like he survived from the Yeti Cool brothers, which is surprising. And then Caesar Clown doesn't even seem to know Brownbeard, which is funny because Brownbeard was kind of sucking his dick for the better part of this entire arc. And Brownbeard's kind of pissed at him, which is really understandable. And then Caesar tells all of the kids to get back in his balloon, which is basically his white van. And then Caesar Clown is just basically a major dick to him here. He's like, "You piece of shit loser from the new world." That's just, he's a dick. That's all there is to him. I mean, Brownbeard is kind of a piece of shit, but still, Caesar Clown is, he's mean in general. And then Caesar's talking to Manette and he's asking if Smiley's bait is ready, and I assume that's Luffy and his gang, and he's asking her to connect to all Den Den Mushies in the world, and that's a pretty sick hot air balloon. And I can't wait to see it animated. And then Caesar's basically talking to all illegal brokers. I assume they're all in the New World, and he's basically, and then you see Zoro and his gang running away from Smiley, and I think that's the poison gas weapon that he wants to sort of sell to other people. And he's basically saying, "Here's an experiment, and if you like it, then buy it." And then you see Luffy and his gang all tied up together, so that was fun to see. And then Virgo has a spoon stuck to his mouth. Is that part of his ability? I don't know. And then he's like, "Today, some uninvited guests found their way onto my island." That sort of confirms that he's going to use Smiley on them. And he basically claims that you can do some country stealing, you can wars, domination, it will make you very powerful. And he's basically trying to sell this weapon to them these illegal brokers, and then Chopper's in stealth mode. I think he's gonna be the one to rescue Luffy in the group. And then you see three groups of people. One of them is a guy smoking. I have no idea who that is. And then you see Peckham's and Tamago. And then a lot of people were speculating whether that was Basil Hawkins or not. Basil Hawkins does have a sword, but it does not look like that, so that isn't him. And then you see Eustace Kid, and he's like, no, I don't really want a weapon, but can't hurt to know about them. And his face is just like all fucked up from the New World. Now, I thought this was sort of a decent chapter. Like, I wasn't as like impressed with this as I usually am. I think that's mainly because I was hoping that, you know, we would hear more about Virgo and Don Quixote, Don Flamingo from Law, but that's not how it does it. Like, we learn a little bit, then we keep on going. It's piece by piece, so I can understand that. In general, though, I thought like the first half of the chapter was a bit like it dragged on too long. I mean, we already know that Nami cares about these kids, and I guess it was important to find out more about Caesar's ability. Like, I think that's really cool, though. How are they going to defeat him, though? That's my question. I mean, like if you can't get in like a radius of him without like choking to death, then I don't really understand. Like, maybe Brook is going to defeat him, because does Brook have to breathe? I have no idea. Like, Brook is an enigma to me, because like he makes all those skull jokes and skeleton jokes, but like I think he needs to breathe, like, because he has to do other things, like he poops and he farts and stuff. So like I don't know. I don't think Oda really he really put a solid base on him as a character himself. I don't know. Can he die? We don't know that much about his Devil Fruit ability or what abilities he has now, and I guess like who knows what's gonna happen there. I don't know. I thought this whole thing with like illegal brokers around the world, I thought that was cool. I mean, like, definitely the last 2 or 3 pages are where it's at. I mean, I was surprised to see Eustace Kid there. I mean, like, if you look at his face, like if you look at the left side, like there are a bunch of scars over there, and it looks like he has like a permanent mechanical right arm if you look closely. I mean, is it always there? I don't know. Like, he's been like fucked up by the New World, but like he's still alive. Like, he's gotten more confident. Like, he destroyed 2 of Big Mom's ships. Like, remember what Peckham's and Tamago said? And speaking of which, they're there too, and they're gonna see this. I think this entire fight, like when Luffy's inevitably gonna beat the shit out of Caesar Clown, and like I think because like that's what Luffy does, and I think Tamago and they're gonna see that entire fight, and I think that'll be good, because then they can talk to Big Mom after that and have a discussion about Luffy, so that makes sense. I don't know who the guy with the cigar is. Like, he's got a wine glass and a cigar. I don't know who he is. I didn't even know there were video Den Mushies. I guess there are. I didn't really pay attention to that, but it was a pretty good one, this arc. And now let's talk about theories moving forward in One Piece. Now, I think what's going to happen after this is Chopper's going to rescue them. I mean, he was kind of in stealth mode, as we saw earlier, and I think Virgo and Manette are going to go out, or they're not going to be in the building the entire time. But I think somehow Chopper's going to rescue them, and then I think Luffy is going to beat up Caesar Clown. I mean, all these illegal brokers are watching, and I think that it's important that Tamago and Peckham's are watching, because I think they're going to report this to Big Mom, and then while that's happening, I think the Tamate Bako, the one treasure box like rigged with all those bombs, is going to explode on them, and that's going to piss them off. Like, I think that's going to be a lead-in into the next arc. I think the next arc, well, I think it's going to be part of the New World arc, but I think what's going to happen after this Punk Hazard arc is that Luffy and Law are going to defeat Big Mom. I think that's the person who Law was talking about, because, I mean, that's the only person who makes logical sense at this point for Luffy to really want to go after, because he was like, we're going to defeat one of the Yonko. And Luffy's not gonna. They're not gonna defeat Blackbeard right now. He's a primary antagonist. They're saving him for later into the series. Like, he's gonna be one of the very last persons they face. And It's not gonna be Shanks, because, well, Shanks is like Luffy's like Biffle. Kaido, I guess it could be Kaido, but I don't think Luffy really has like a grudge or anything against him. Like Luffy was like smiling and nodding his head when Law like whispered into him like the Yonko he wanted to defeat, and so like he doesn't really have anything against Kaido. So I think it's gonna be Big Mom. So they're gonna need to finish this up in the next couple of days because remember the tea party's coming up. That's when like all the sweets come and they have their big banquet. So Luffy and Law have to finish this up in the next 2 days, and then they gotta run to the tea party and defeat Big Mom. I think that's what's going to happen. At like in this arc, I don't like. I think it's interesting that Don Flamingo got into the mix of this entire thing. I have no idea like what role he's going to play, but like that's gonna be really interesting coming up. I don't think he's really gonna be in this arc. Like I think he's the strongest Shichibukai warlord of the sea. I really do think he is. I mean, maybe Mihawk might be stronger than him, but like he really is sort of like the shady underworld character of this One Piece story. Like I don't know what's gonna happen with them, but I really I think I don't know what's gonna happen to Virgo either, but I think he's gonna be defeated by someone. I don't know who. I think Luffy's main villain is going to be Caesar Clown. So I don't know who's going to be defeating Virgo, or if someone's ever even going to be defeating Virgo. I don't know what's going to happen to him or Smoker in this chapter.